Let's get more reaction on this because it's got a lot of people talking. We've got the Minerals Council of South Africa, which has welcomed the inclusion of the private sector in the proposed solutions. We've got the technology analyst at the council, Christian Teffo, who joins me now to discuss this further. Christian, thank you very much for your time. Before we get into your view as the Minerals Council, you heard what Mr. Boloy there was saying about the issue here is just a matter of fixing Eskom. There's no need to create any kind of partnership or to bring alternative forms of power onto the grid. We just need to fix it. And I argued with him that we haven't been able to fix it for over a decade. So how does he propose this happen? What are your thoughts?
Good evening to you and your viewers. I agree with him. We need to fix Eskom. So in the past, we have used the money that was supposed to be for maintenance for other purposes instead of using it for maintenance. That's a problem that we know about. We've suggested that we should have engineers, whether from the country or outside, assisting and ensuring that maintenance is done correctly. So that one I agree with definitely, because we need the base load. But you have one challenge. Eskom has got a debt of about 400 billion. And if you're thinking that Eskom is going to build, where are we going to get the funds for Eskom to build these new power stations that are supposed to come online? So you have a challenge in terms of where do we then, as government, get the capital to invest in building more power stations? We know the challenges that came with the building of Kusile and Medupi. The project was supposed to be built for about 200 billion. It's now sitting at about 400 billion, including the other ones like Ingula. So that's a big challenge. Now, the inclusion of private sector or the liberalization of the electricity market, that's something that the government itself has preached about since 1998 when the white paper on energy was released. It talked about separating Eskom into three, being the transmission, distribution, and generation. In doing that, also allowing private participation, which will then bring in competition, which will ensure you cheaper prices.
Let's talk about the Minerals Council's views now that have been expressed by you all today after that announcement. I mean, this is something not only the Minerals Council, but other stakeholders across the country has been calling for a while now. You know, the ramping up of these discussions around renewables and alternative forms of power coming onto the grid. Just give us a broad sense of the part you believe the private sector will play in really just getting South Africa out of the current crisis that it faces when it comes to electricity.
Yeah. The Minerals Council members and other mining industry participants have got about 5,200 megawatts of renewables, and some of it is also biomass and so on that they can bring online. If you bring this online, it will assist Eskom to get that breather where they can then focus on their maintenance and make sure that their coal generation is working properly. So for us, we do not see it as taking over Eskom's share. Eskom's share will always be there, but it's about bringing on this much needed 6,000 megawatts that you need, and also making sure that Eskom can maintain their plant, whilst at the same time ensuring that the core of business, which is ensuring that you're generating income and keeping people employed, goes on.
And what was also important, and the Minerals Council has highlighted this, is the structural reform of the energy market, you know, and the structure that Eskom should be taking going forward in terms of that division that was mentioned, that also being a critical component of the market in South Africa.
Yes, it is very critical, and the Electricity Regulations Act and the electricity pricing policy, which are going to affect this changes at Eskom, have already been through a consultation phase, and I think now it's sitting with cabinet where it's going through finalization. Once it's promulgated, then the independent system market operator will start operating and buying this electricity from different power stations. To that effect, also the National Energy Regulator South Africa has already started devising the pricing methodology to ensure that when these power stations come online, they can purchase this electricity at prices that are set by the regulator.
Mm-hmm. The President also announced the National Energy Crisis Committee. And what are your thoughts on that? It will be led by the DG in the presidency, and the Mineral Council's view on the contribution that this particular committee will make to the crisis. There have been various task teams and various committees that have been established over the years, various war room, if I remember correctly, even, Christian, and nothing really changed in that. Do you have a little bit of hope this time around as the council that this committee will make a positive, active contribution to the crisis?
We do. Yes, we do. So there is another committee that's been run, except for that, the one that you're speaking about, because it's just about to be formed. But there's another one that's operating under the presidency. It's called Embedded Generation Task Team. They've been assisting our members, industry, different industries and other companies to remove the red tape from the regulations or regulatory steps that you have to go through in order to put in your renewable energy plant. So, and in different fora, government has been there, and it's not only talk. We are seeing it with real action. So I do believe that this task team that they are forming will bear fruit.
Very encouraging that you're saying you actually are seeing the work that government is putting into fixing this national emergency that we face as a country, the power crisis. Thank you very much for talking to us this evening. That is Christian Teffo, who's the technology analyst at the Minerals Council of South Africa, saying that they welcome the plan and they're actually seeing some active participation by government to fix the problems in our electricity market.